to join. I have pinged the Matillion IP in the chat. You can check if you are able to log in. Yes, so we can get started. Uh, so yesterday we have seen, how can we build the transformation job and how can we build the orchestration job, right? So we have covered the scenarios where we have the files at S3 location and we have loaded orders and people data, right, from S3 to Snowflake, right? And now once the data is in Snowflake, so we have transformed that data and load our dimension table, right? So usually in our data warehousing environment, so we have dimensions and facts, right? So few dimensions are of type SCD1, few are of type SCD2 and SCD3, so on, right? So here the dim people is of SCD type 1. That means we are not maintaining any history, right? And for this dim people, our source table is people, SF people, right? Uh, Now then we have also seen how can we use the environmental variables, right? Within the battalion, correct? So and we also seen which all things we can create as a environmental variables, right? So you should always create the environmental variables for such things which are getting used in most of the jobs, okay? And their value will change in the upper environment, right? Like let's say in the database, let's say in development we have the DemoDB as database. In UAT and production we might have some different database name, right? But if you hardcode that here, you will not have access or permission to change anything in UAT and production instances. Okay, so that's why you will need to parameterize this, and you can parameterize that using the environmental variables, right? Then we have also seen how can we execute the concurrent execution of the multiple you can say processes, right? So within a job, if you want to load some of the processes or some of the component parallelly, right? Then you will have to modify your setting in environments, right? So yesterday we had created new environment, that is env parallel SF, and there we had put the concurrent connection as 2. Okay, if we keep concurrent connection and as 1, and if you try to execute this parallelly, Snowflake will only accept the one connection at a time. So it will process one file first and then it will process the second file. Okay. Now now let's look at a few of the other UI detailing options that we had started with. Okay, and then we'll move on. So in terms of UI detailing. So if you see, so this is the project menu. So all the project level settings, project level options can be accessed from the project menu, right? So if you click on that, so we have seen, how to switch the project. In the manage project, you can provide access or grants to, multiple users. Okay. Then we have seen the rename project group, delete project if you to delete, input data report, manage version. Importantly, we have seen this manage version, right? That how do we why do we need the versions or the workspace, right? So these are nothing but the independent workspace area, correct, right? recycle bin is if we delete any jobs, then they will go to this recycle bin. Now add environments, right? So as we see that for a single project, we can have the multiple environments created, right? Like this. So we can have this one environment, another environment. We still can, let's say if we have the QA Snowflake QA account, right? So that also we can add the environments, right? So either you can right click here and click on add environment, or you can go to project and add environment, right? So it is the same. Then we have seen the manage environmental variables. Like it
Nathan,
is this, yeah,
Nathan, can I pause you for a second?
yeah,
Uh,
sure.
can you please go over one more time the reason for having multiple environments?
Okay, sure, yeah. So see, the one of the scenario that we saw yesterday is on this. So we wanted to run, few jobs parallelly, right? So
Okay.
as I said, in the first environment, we had that concurrent connection as one
Yeah.
here, right? So if you keep concurrent connection as one, it will, even if you have the parallel component, it will not create multiple connections to Snowflake. Okay. Now let's say you have usually we keep that one, okay, one or two. But let's say if you have some requirement that you need to process some tens of file parallelly, okay. So and that is only like for a couple of jobs. Okay. So for that what you can do is you can create another environment and run that job in that environment. Okay, so when I run, right, if I check here, run in another environment, you can run that in different environment, okay, which is created for that, right? And while scheduling as well, there is an option that if you schedule this job, there is an option that in which environment you want to run. So at that time, you will select this environment, okay,
Oh, okay. Okay.
right? This is one. The another thing, what may happen is, so in Snowflake you may have your four different environments, right? You may have one environment for Snowflake Dev, then QA, UAT, and production, right? But at Matillion end, we may not need all these four environments, right? So what we can have is we can have the uh, 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 Dev and QA as a one Matillion instance. For
Mhm.
UAT, you can have another, and for production, you can have another. Okay. Now consider that this is my dev environment. Okay,
Okay.
right. So in that case, what you can do is, if you want to run the same job in the QA environment, okay, then what you can do is you can add another environment, okay, and give it a name that's QA. And now if I
Okay.
want to run the same job in QA, what I will do, I will right click, I run in another environment and I will run it QA. Okay. But what you will need to set is another,
Environment.
yeah, all these variables you will need to set for QA. Got it?
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah. Okay. Um, then, yeah, we have seen the manage environmental variables export. So export is something if you need to take an export of your job, then you can do an export. Okay. So when you click on that, you can select which are jobs which you need. Okay, specific jobs. Okay, and you can just export that. There is also an option to export the environment if you want to do that. Usually we don't do because we just need an uh, and in upper environment we will create the environments by ourselves, right? And the variables, so variables also you can export. Okay, so if you export, let's say if you export these two jobs, three jobs, it will get exported in a JSON file.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, yeah, right. And similarly yeah, yeah, so to import it, you can click on import and you can search for your that JSON file and you can import that. Okay, just click it and import it. If you need variable, you can do that. Okay, this is simple import and export function. Another way to export is you can also right click on it. If you want to export just specific particular job, just right click here and click on export. There is also an option. Okay, now manage credentials is something that we have already seen, right? So this is a kind of an AWS credentials that our instance is invoking, right? So if you want to add additional credentials, you can click on plus and add that. But for that you will need access key and secret key. Usually your cloud team will not provide you the access key and secret key here, okay, because that is a risk. Instead they will assign those permission to your role. Okay, not much to do here. Then manage schedule. Okay, with manage schedule, if you need to schedule your job, you need to go here. So project and then manage schedule. So it's pretty simple, like a cron tab like entry we need to make here. So to add a schedule, what you can do, you need to click on plus, okay, and give it a name. Let's say I need to schedule my file load, okay, and it's a daily. So what I can do, daily uh, order load, okay, I'm giving it. And whether you want to enable or disable that, you can do that. Now in time zone, you have multiple time zones to be selected from that, in which time zone you need to select. So if I select IST, right, I can give any name. Let's say IST daily, I need to schedule it, I need to run that at 11 a.m, right, or I need to run that let's say 2 p.m. So I will give like this, okay. Now, on which day I need to run this? I need to just run on weekdays. So I will just select that. Okay. If you need to run on monthly basis, right, you can use the day of month. Right. On which day of month you need to run. Let's say I need to run on 15 and 30. So you can do like this. Okay. And here I'm selecting days of week. That's been within a week. I need to run from Monday to Friday. Okay. Now version, right? So as I said, so in usually in production or in UAT, you will always have a single version, that is default version, at least in production. Okay. But in developer, as we said, if multiple team members are there and all are working on the same project, right? So they will create their own independent versions. But in production, you will have only a single version. That is a default version, right? So you'll always run in that default version. Now in the job, you will see all the job which are orchestration job. Okay. You cannot schedule a transformation job. Okay.
Got it.
Yeah. So always only the orchestration job can be scheduled. Okay. Even if let's say you don't have much in the orchestration job, but you want to schedule only the transformation job, what you will have to do is you will have to create a orchestration job and bring that transformation job into that orchestration job. Okay. So like that you need to do, right? So whatever, let's say I'm selecting load orders people grid variable, let's say. Okay. Uh, yeah, that's what I'm selecting that. What was that? This load three load order data. Okay. Yeah. So I'm clicking on plus and say daily order load. I'm giving this IST. Let's say 20. And it will run, let's say, only on these 3 days. Yeah. Let's say I need to load this. Now, as I was telling that this concurrent needs to be run in different environment, I can select that environment from here. Right now here, instead of our regular environment, I will select this parallel environment. Right, because here my requirement is I need to load that files concurrently, right? Right? And I can just click on test and it will show me, give me the when it is the next run. Okay, it is scheduled India time 20, right? Which is an UTC is 2:30. If you click on prevent duplicate job, so if this job is being used in another schedule, then it will prevent that. It will not allow. Okay, and with enable and disable, you can whether you want to enable that or not. Okay, clear on this schedule part? Yeah. And if you're, but here there is no way. Um, uh, yeah. So if if you need this is just a cron like schedule. Okay, so if you need to run every quarter, right, so you can what you need to do is you need to run it monthly, but you will need to handle that in your job. So this scheduling does not allow you to run your job quarterly. Okay, either daily or monthly, it will allow. Okay, if you want to run it in quarters, then you will have to handle that in your job. Okay, so if I click OK here, it will tell me the next run is on 10th September 20. Okay, if I disable it, it will not run it. Schedule is not enabled. Okay, So this is how we schedule the job. So it's pretty simple. Yeah.
How, how
Mhm.
to make a dependent?
Yeah, so as I said, dependency within the schedule is not possible. What Matlin recommends is to set up your job dependency within the jobs only. Okay. So now let's say if you need to run your process dim people job, right? You need to run only after once you load your dim only after people file, then what you can do, you can just drag and drop here, right? On success, right? So what it will do, and you need to schedule this job. So what it will do, once it will first truncate table, load orders, load people. Once people is loaded, then it will load the dim people.
So that's another orchestration job, the for process dim people.
No, this is the transformation job, right? We can include
Okay.
any transformation job in the orchestration job. Even we can
Okay.
include other orchestration job within orchestration job.
Okay.
Anything.
That was my question. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can invoke one orchestration from another
Yes.
orchestration.
Yeah. Orchestration as well as transformation. But the reverse is not possible. We cannot
Correct.
have the orchestration in the transformation job.
So
Because
typically, right, when we
mm,
develop these jobs, uh, in dev, obviously, further environments will be locked down, like QA and production, right?
mhm.
So, and I don't want to schedule my jobs in dev, but only in production
Yeah,
and not
yeah,
in
yeah, you
QA.
won't schedule that in Dev, correct?
So, if that is the case, do I have to add these? How do I migrate the schedule? Does it go along with the job, or the schedule is migrated separately?
No, no, schedule will not go along with job. You need to migrate this separately. But having said that, we will not schedule our jobs in Dev, right? At least
Yeah, yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So we don't schedule our jobs in dev. I want to schedule my job only in production, right?
production. Yes,
So do I have to work with the admins to schedule it at a
yes,
specific time, or do
yes,
I? Okay,
yes. You will need to have to, schedule, right? Usually, whenever we migrate our jobs to production, so we do tell them, right, that I need to schedule this job at this particular time, right?
correct. Okay,
Yeah.
it doesn't go along with the code itself, right? Yeah.
No, 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 no.
Yeah, Nitish, one more question. So, like Material has like that much capability for scheduling all kind of jobs. So, like if I earlier I worked in data stage, like while scheduling jobs, data stage like it's not compatible now. Like while scheduling, like it's not give better compatibility. We have to depend on third party tool. So here, what about Talent? Also, we have tag it there, so it's capable. So what about Material?
Yeah. As I said, right, we can schedule daily, weekly. We
Oh
can
yeah, we can
And
do
can we
it,
use
but
an
that
external
much
tool to
capable.
schedule
Yeah,
jobs? Can I
external.
use Control M to schedule a Matillion job? Because
Um,
that could be dependent on an Informatica job, let's say, prior to loading this one, right?
I don't think so that we can uh, schedule that. But having said that, as I said earlier, if you are able to connect from your Control M, so I think in Control M what we do, we give that Informatica Unix command only, right? So I
Like
believe so.
PMCMD or something like
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah. So uh, we can call the Matlin API to run the job. Okay, so Matlin has API endpoint. Using that, we can trigger the job. Okay, so what does that mean is if in the control M, if you put like if you have the connectivity from your control M server to your Matlin server, you can put that your API call in that control M, and it will trigger that. That is for sure. Okay. So we'll see that not from the control M, but from the EC2, how can we run the job, right? Because as of now, what we do, we just right click here and run the job, right? Okay. So how can we run from the external, you can say, external environment. Okay. But yeah, so from control M, there should be possible, I think.
For Informatica, I think there is a what do you call um, a web services
Mm-hmm.
component.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Control M has usually an Informatica module that uses the web services component to communicate to the Informatica server.
Okay.
That
Okay.
module is usually installed on top of that Control M agent, where
Oh. Mm-hmm.
so you have a Control M agent that's installed on the Informatica server.
Okay, okay. Got it,
That's
got it.
how
Yeah.
Control M
That
talks to
is
Informatica.
okay, okay. Yes. That is why it is able to, run that, right? Because it has the connectivity. Yes.
Right. So
Yeah.
I think that was the same question.
Yeah.
Given that, let's say in my, I could have my current existing data warehouse or another application that is running on Informatica and loading a Netezza database. And then from Netezza, we're migrating to Snowflake, right? So once the inherent or underlying jobs complete that load Netezza, that's when I want to run my Matillion job.
Mm-hmm.
So I need a third-party scheduling tool that can talk both to my Informatica as well as my Matillion jobs.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah. Yes, that should be possible. So
Not
there
only
is,
controlling like any other schedule also might be possible, right?
yes,
Anything.
yeah,
Correct.
yeah. So the only thing that you will need is the connectivity between that scheduling tool and your Matillion.
Yes,
Okay,
exactly. So
but having said that, if you have you could also have the ability to install that scheduling tool on this EC2 machine where our Matillion is running. There is also an ability, so you can do that as well. If that is done, then it is pretty easy because this is the own EC2 machine, right? So it will always have the connectivity. Okay, yeah. And the way in Informatica we run using PMCMD command, right? So see, the relation is same. So when you come to ETL UI part, you can run it manually, right? And in the Informatica as well, you can run that manually from UI, correct? From the software. If you need to run, programmatically, then you use the PMCMD command, right? So here there is no PMCMD command, but there is a API endpoint which is provided, and you can trigger that using that API endpoint. Okay. Yeah. So the next is the task history. So if you go to project, you will see all of the task history or all of the runs which has been executed here. Okay, for all of the jobs. So it's simple. It will show you this ID, this run ID. What is the task type? Whether it was a scheduled run, whether it's a run job or run, right? So like this, in which environment it has run. It is so it does give that as well. Okay, queue time started, ended, duration. If you want to see the log, you can just click here and you can see it. Okay, but the better way now here, if you see, all of the jobs are present, right, for all of the history. If you need to check only for specific, the better way is what, let's say you need to check the task history for this job. So right click on that job and then click on task history. So it will show you the task history only for that particular job. Okay, and not for all others. So here it's pretty easy to check for that job, right? Manage auth is something we'll need for the external API call. So we'll check that later. Manage project group password. Yeah. So um, so manage project group password, you can just assume that now let's say if you have to store any external password, let's say we need to pull data from Oracle database, right? And that username and let's say password that we need to store. So that passwords can be stored at the group level. Okay. So even if you see our Snowflake passwords are stored at the group level, even though we have created different project. Okay. But what this option, if you see, manage group password, project group password, right? So all of the project, all of the passwords which are stored within a project group, within all the project, that will be appear here. Okay, right? And for this it is just an encrypted or encoded password. Okay, even if let's say if I need to store the password for Oracle DB, let's say I can say some Oracle pass, I can give password and I can either store via KMS encryption or encoded. Usually we store as an encoded because as a security wise, this instance is within our VPC only, right? But if your cloud team recommend to have the KMS, they can provide you the KMS master key. Okay.
what is the
So
KMS?
yeah, it is key management service, right? KMS. So it is generally used to encrypt your password.
Okay.
This is an service of AWS. What it does is it just encrypt that password using the KMS key that you provided. So you can do like that. So we'll check more on that on project group password. API profiles is something, so we'll check towards the end that how can we extract the data from an API endpoint, right?
What did you mention about manage OAuth?
It is
Yes.
similar. Manage OAuth is something, let's say if you need to get data from an external, let's say Twitter account, right? Or an Facebook account, or if you need to get the tweets. So here we need to, manage your OAuths. Okay, now let's say if you need to get your data from yeah, where is from the Twitter, you need to get that. So um, what you will do, you will come here and you will just manage that OAuth, and in the setting you need to provide the client ID and secret key, right? The ID and secret key. So this you will get from the your Twitter administrator who is managing your organization's Twitter account. Okay, so you just need to put that here, client ID and client secret key. Okay. Yeah, so currently it is not authorizing, so it will OAuth. Yeah, this is just an authorization. That means it is just storing some credentials, right? The way we store our password, correct? It will just store the credentials here. Okay. If you have any other, let's say, if you need to connect to some Facebook from here, you can also do that based on the callback URL. You can have. Yeah. So this is something not used, you can say, right? Um, but yeah, in case if you have requirement, you will just need a client ID and client secret to get your Twitter data. So it's just use a username and password that we're storing here, kind of thing. Okay. So look at it. API profile manage. Not sure what is this manage webhook payloads. Yes, I think seems recently introduced. Not getting used. I have seen at least. Now manage shared jobs. So we'll see on this part like what exactly the shared job. As of now you can just focus that shared job is something. It is a kind of reusable job, right? So if you have any standard job, right, which is getting used in all or most of the jobs, then we can create that as a shared job. Okay, the way we create the worklets and maplets, right? The same way you can assume that as a shared job. So change my password is to password. Manager reporting is something different. Not sure what is that. Yeah, it is. I think if you post your error to some API endpoint, right, then it is getting used. But not sure if it is used or not. Yeah. Then manage CDCs is to manage your change data capture. Okay. Uh, so if you need to have your change data capture right scheduled, then you will need to create a queue. And let's say if your file is coming right on an S3 and you need to load data when your file is arriving at S3, so something that you can you can say manage your CDC configuration from here. Okay, and it is based on the SQS configuration, that is I think it's queuing service of AWS. Okay.
But, does that mean it's polling for files on AWS location, and as soon as a file comes, it's processing, or
Yes, yeah.
more clarity?
So
Yes.
yeah, so it's based on the SQS service of AWS. Yeah, it's a kind of messaging service. And so we need to define a queue. As soon as something arrives at the queue, it will create our CDC or trigger our CDC job. Yeah, it is the same. Manage SQS configuration. Migrate. Migrate is something. Uh, now you see there are multiple ways to migrate your jobs from one environment to another environment. Okay, so with a very basic, now let's say we have a dev environment, and now we need to migrate our jobs to UAT environment, right? So the very basic, what admin will do, he will just take an export of this job, okay, and import it in another Matillion version, right, by using import category, right? This is one way. This usually don't follow. Another way is to migrate using the migrate utility. Okay, so it is pretty simple. So what we are telling here, that what is my target URL? That means to which Matillion instance I need to migrate the things. So I will have to enter the Matillion target URL. I will have to enter the username. I will have to enter the password. So this is the target URL and target password. Okay, then I can select which all things I need to you know migrate, right? Okay, so let's say within the project groups I have MTLCD project and I have multiple projects, right? Let's say MTLSF I need to manage, right? So to your question, to migrate the schedule, this is also one option. Okay, but usually we don't schedule anything in dev environment, so there will be no schedule. Okay, so you can migrate anything. If you want to migrate your variables, you can migrate those environmental variables within the version. You will have your jobs, right? And you can migrate any of the jobs.
So when you create a schedule, right, it's associated with a specific job, or are you
Yes.
able to create a schedule and then assign that schedule to a
No,
job,
no. When you create a schedule, if you saw, we need to select the job, right?
like the job? Okay.
Yeah. So you can migrate easily. Okay. The only matter is we need to give their target URL, target
Okay.
username, target password. That's it. But usually when we have the Git integration, we don't use that. Use this basically. Okay. And now, I
For
mean,
deployment, how many ways supports actually? Only this is the way.
no, as I said, right, the first way is exporting and importing the job, right?
That
Exporting
is
from dev
directly like.
environment and importing to another. The second way
Hmm.
is that is migrate feature, that you will have just, put your target URL, username and password, and you will select what all things you need to migrate. Okay,
Directly
next.
jobs will
Yes,
reply
yes, yes, yes. Directly job will be
without file,
available.
without a JSON file, you mean, right?
Yeah, it will be directly available in your upper environment, right? In that project.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, everything. I mean, whatever you look like this here, that will be available there. Okay. And another thing, the last thing that they provide is Git for deployment. Okay. So we have this session for Git as well. So in Git, you will have your, let's say, Git project. Okay, and you will kind of work in your own branch. And once you are done with changes, you will commit your changes and push to Git, and you will raise a merge request, like merge request from your branch to master branch, let's say. Okay, and then once your changes will get committed to master branch or merged to master branch, then you will see your updated jobs, right, in production. So we'll check this in detail. Okay, so this is about the project menu. Then we have this as a job navigation panel. Okay, so here this is a kind of version. It will tell you in which version we are currently. If you right click, there is an option to create folder, add orchestration job, and import and export. Okay, there is also way. Now um, if you right click on job, right, so we have an option called open job. It will open that. Close job. If you need to cut or copy paste, you can do that. Delete. If you want to rename the job, you can go and manage job, and then you can rename it. Okay, then to run this, there is also, I mean, if you don't want to open that job, so we have also an option to right click here and run the job. So it will either run this environment, run in another environment, or validate your job. If I click on validate, it will trigger the validate event. Okay, then variables, so we'll come back on this variables part. Then also we can add an orchestration job. If you want to schedule this particular job, you can just right click on that job, and it is an easy way to schedule your job, right? Instead of going to schedule, going to project and manage schedule. If you want to schedule a job, just right click and schedule job. Okay. The task history is, if you want to check the task history for this particular job, you can click here. Shared job is to create the shared job. As I said, in Informatica we have worklets and maplets. So similarly, you can assume for now. So we'll check in more detail. Now this is one unique feature: generate job documentation. Okay. Uh, now let's say uh, I have like something in this job. Okay, I mean, this is not sure like why they are given, but yeah, if you just right click here and on generate documentation, you just click OK here. Okay, it will generate, it will give me one HTML file, and if I open that, yeah, you will see like this. Okay, it will just show you, you know, the overview of your how your job looks like, right? So it is in this project. This is my job, right? And it has multiple components. One is that is why the name to the component is important, right? So if I click on that, it is the truncate table component, right? It has highlighted this, okay, and it will show me exactly what script it is there within the truncate load component, right? The next is if you see here, next is load orders, okay. So yeah, it will highlight that load orders, and it will show you the what are the properties which have been set for the load order, right? This is similarly for load people, it will show me what are the properties I have said. Now my next is dim people job. Now it will say that it is a transformation job, right? It will show me what exactly they are happening within the transformation job, right? Then it is reading from the source. I can simply see this is my source, right? This and filtering I'm applying on this filter. Then I'm getting some calculator, and then finally I'm updating into dim people. Okay, this is not, you know, like much useful for us, but maybe in case, you know, if the architects want to review your job, and uh, either he can, you know, go to Matlin and review that, or you know, uh, if you can, you know, share the generated documentation, he can also look at that part. Or if client wants to see, or some business analyst wants to see how your flow is, then they can check using this documentation, right? Because usually they will not have access to your production project. Okay,
Maybe
just
useful for
yeah,
the person support team also. Maybe.
yes, exactly. That's correct. Yeah,
Because typically we're required to build, these kind of documents when migrating jobs, right? For
yes, yes,
support documents. So this is
yes,
helpful.
yes. This is helpful. Yeah, even you can include this as a part of your migration plan. So if you know someone or solution architect needs to review that, he can just open that HTML page and click that, check that, right? But yeah, not that useful, but yeah, they have provided. But yeah, this is a unique feature I have seen. And export is if you want to export the job. Okay,
Can you open that job documentation? Can you click on once?
okay. Yeah. Yes, yeah, I opened that. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
you are.
Yeah,
No description. Like, can we getting any description like what it is performing and all? No. Okay.
no. That level of functionality is not available. But yeah, if you give the proper naming convention to your component, it is useful. Yeah, okay. The next thing, the component tab, where you can find all of your components, right? The shared job, as I said, when we build a shared job, those will appear here, okay, in the shared job functionality. And always remember, shared job is at the instance level, okay? Is it not as the project level or something? So if you create a shared job, it will be available for all of the project within this instance, okay? And the environments, as you know, these are the environments that we created. So if you right click, we have option to add environment, to edit the environment, right? If you see the selected, that means this is the default environment. When you run the job, it will by default run in this environment. If you run, if you need to make different default environment, you can just right click on another environment, click on select environment. Okay. We have edit environment. If we need to edit, sometimes we need to, you know, refresh the environment. So sometimes what may happen is you just created a table in Snowflake, and that may not get immediately known to Matillion. So if you just do a refresh, it will just refresh the things out. So if you expand, you will see the tables and the views here. Okay, but it is always shown in the default databases. Okay, so you will see that here. This is just in case if you just need to check whether my table is available or not. Create schema, we don't create schema from it. Manage sequence is not, you know, if you need to create a sequence, right? So it will create a sequence in the Snowflake database. right? But usually, what we'll do, like usually admin will create the using the Snowflake Workbench, the sequences, right? So you can do that, and even the stages as well. The way we have our, the stage in the Snowflake, right? So it will create the stage in the Snowflake itself. Okay. So yeah,
Can you go over this one more time? The last two, three things, the sequences and the one prior, please.
yeah. So we know that the database sequence. So we can create
Correct.
the database sequence from here. But usually
Oh, okay.
we will not do it here, but we'll do it from the Snowflake Workbench, right? With the create sequence command. And same goes with the stages as well. So if you know in Snowflake we have these stages, we can create the external stage or internal stage, right? So if you need to create any more stage, you can create from here. But usually the admin will create from the
Database.
Snowflake Workbench. Yeah, the database. So it will tell you, right, whether you need to create an external or internal one, right? Then it's AWS, then get the credentials and all, right?
So one question, right? Since you bring up the sequence
Mm-hmm.
thing, maybe I'm jumping the gun, but
Okay.
yesterday when we were creating that SCD type 1
Mm-hmm.
uh, component or
Yeah.
orchestration, right? So typically you need some sort of sequence to generate like a
Yeah,
new
the
surrogate key or whatnot.
surrogate key. Yeah, yeah.
Correct.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah. We
is
we
there
we we we
an option to
have that.
use,
Yeah.
right, but is there
So
an option to use like the sequence not from the database but from within Matillion?
no, no. Since if you understand till this is an ELT tool, right? So
Right.
everything we do here, right, it will just simply push down to Snowflake, right? So it's
Right.
recommended to use the sequences in Snowflake only. So
Now,
there is
if you
no
want to
direct
use the
way.
sequence, if you want to
Mhm.
use the sequence from Snowflake in this job, how do we do that?
Yeah, so we have the SQL script component, right? So in SQL
Okay,
script
so
we
we do
can
it
call
through
the
this.
sequence. Yeah.
Okay, click next val dot
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah, Snowflake, yeah, sequence.nextval. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have that
So,
one scenario in when we create the dim people SCD2.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so
was.
at that time, yeah, so we'll check that. However, we'll use the internal Snowflake sequence only. We'll not go through the Matillion one. Okay,
Thank you.
yeah. The way we were doing in Informatica, right? The creating the variables and getting the next value, storing the value in the
Right.
previous variable like that. Yeah, so it won't work here in that case.
Nitin, Ramana here.
Mhm.
So, for that matter, sequence regarding sequence creation generator.
Mhm.
So, can we use that in a calculator transformation? Like we can create a variable and we can assign that sequence dot next value so that we can map it in.
Right.
We
No,
can create, right?
yeah. So yeah, there is also an option where you can create, but I have not used that yet. So
Okay, okay. Yeah,
so
yeah.
you will need
Just
to
checking
check
with
that.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, we can check. So I can check on that part.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But nowadays, since database has provided, very, clever features, right? So we should always try to, use that. Um, okay, so we'll see how can we, have an auto increment in the dim people SCD2. Okay, yeah. So this is the job canvas then. So when you open the job, you have multiple options. Is to validate the job, run your job, run job in another environment, manage job and create variables. So we'll come to this part. If you need to export, you can export. Uh, you know, uh, close job if you need to close job, and then we have a create notes. Okay, create note. So create note is very important feature I would say here. So that will just explain my job a bit. So I think someone was asking about the description, right? So what I can do is simply I can just right click here and I can just click on create note. Okay, and here I can just write in bold that uh, loads and process orders people files. Okay, right, like this I just added. Okay, and if I need to add any other thing, let's say I need to add the schedule here just to show. Okay, schedule 20 IST daily. Usually we don't do that, but in case I'm just telling you what all things can be done. Okay, so I just added these two part. So if you see, I can add a note. So this is at the job level, correct? Right. So I have added this note here. Okay. And to adjust the note, what you can do, you see the gray square here. You need to click on here to adjust the notes. Okay. You can't click anywhere, but yeah, this is the way that they have provided.
Can we do the same thing when we right click on this orchestration job and when you rename the job, right? Is there an option to add notes there?
No, 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 no. There is no
Uh,
option.
no, 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 no. Like when you right click on the job name
Uh-huh.
on the left side on the control panel, right?
Oh, here. No,
When
no,
you
no.
do like an edit or something, right? Or how do you rename the job?
Rename is managed, and here you can
Okay.
add the description of the job.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So can we use that job description to add
Yeah,
whatever you're adding in the notes part?
yeah. We can do that as well. It's a good practice, I would say. Yeah.
So is there any other maybe functionality to add it in the notes rather than doing it here?
No. So either you can add the job description here, or you can add it here.
I think
So only two ways.
by adding in Canvas, it would be
Yes,
helpful for documentation purpose
exactly. Right.
as Sudha mentioned. Yeah.
Exactly. You're absolutely correct. Now, what I can do, I can even add the job documentation at this process. Okay, at each and every component. So what I can do, I can create a job node, and for this, oh, what did I do?
You open the
Different job.
that's
Okay, yeah. So what I can do is create node, and maybe I can have some job node.
and you can have multiple notes within the job.
Yes, yes, yeah. I will show you. Okay, stage tables. Yeah. Now what I can do, I can just bring in like this here.
Yeah, we will be maintaining kind of version.
Version of what?
For example, like myself created job, some other person edited. Like details can be mentioned somewhere else. What he did and all.
No, so that you will do through Git, na? When you commit to Git, you will have to provide the Git message, right? So if your project is integrated with Git, then there is no issue on that. Okay. If you want to maintain, then you will have to maintain some different page and type in there what all changes have happened. Or if you prefer, you can, use the job description and add your logs. But this is not something we'll expect. Yeah.
Manage job description itself we can add. Okay.
Yes, yes, yeah. But that is not a preferable way. Or what you can do, if you have any, your documentation page, you can add there, right? What all changes have happened. Generally, clients prefer to do that, and usually they will have the Git integration with their project. Okay. And what I can do then again, I can create a node for the, this one, that is load orders and people files. Okay. And I can click here. Right. This is how I can do that. And I can add another node if you want to add here as well. Or I can just edit it here, files, and I can say then process dim people. Okay, and I can make it here. Okay, now this is how my job will, looks like a pretty good job. Now, when I generate a documentation, as you said, let's see how it comes. Yeah, So it's again pretty easy to understand, right? Truncating the stage table. Yeah, the job description you will see here. This is the job description that we have added. So it's again pretty easy, and it's good practice to add the job description and at least the overall job description on the job canvas and few of the job components which are not easily understand, right? If someone else is looking at. Okay. So even again it will give you the notes. Truncating stage table is this, and there is another note, and then it will go in detail of each and everything, right? So it comes from top to bottom. Okay, clear?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so quickly, if you want to just create the job notes, whichever job you have open, just right click on that and try to create one or two job notes. Right click on create note. Yeah, I will wait for a minute and we'll just bring some water. You can do
For
it.
some, I'm not able to connect to Matillion today using that HTTP link that you gave.
HTTP link is
One,
this. Are you able to?
two, three.
Yeah,
Oh no,
let me ping it again.
the one I have is a different one. It's
No, no,
13
no.
232
Yeah, so that is yeah. So this is the latest one. So see,
Oh, okay.
the one thing why our IP address is changing, I think so I must have told you, with each and every EC2 machine, so AWS assigns the two IP addresses. One is the private and one is the public. So private IP address is something within the VPC, okay, whatever we have defined. And public address it is needed because now we are connecting from the external, from the public IP, right? Right? That's why it is assigned the public IP address. Okay. Now what will happen? Daily when I stopped any instances and if I start it again, this IP address will change. Okay, right?
Okay.
But in real
Okay.
world, in real example, real life, what they will do, they will assign an elastic IP to this instance. So the elastic IP will remain same. Okay, the way you always log into facebook.com, right? Okay, so that elastic IP is that DNS name is same. Okay, but that elastic IP is a kind of so it comes with the cost. That's why we're not doing this as a part of session. Okay, so if we allocate a elastic IP, then you will just need to select that elastic IP you need to tag to which EC2 machine. Okay, so uh, that is why we're not using that because
Which one's the
so it
IP that we
comes
need to use? This one, right? 13
public.
126
Yes, public IP. I have pinged you in the chat. Okay, yeah.
Uh,
So mhm.
is anyone else able to access that?
Fahad, I can access.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks. Okay. I'm able to access now.
yeah, yeah.
When I entered that IP directly, it wasn't letting me. When I followed that,
No. Yeah. So see, we have opened the port on HTTPS, right? So we need to provide HTTPS :/ and then your IP address. Right?
got it.
Yeah, yeah. So try creating a notes here quickly. Okay, so we'll move on. Just yeah. So I'm just getting some water. Yeah.
Told like how to go for one instance. Can you explain anything?
I think he stepped away.
Nitin?
Yeah, I think he said he was going to get some water. He stepped away from his desk, I guess.
Yes, guys. Done? Hello.
Nitin, you told like one instance how to create. If you show, then we will start practice.
Okay, another instance. Okay, okay. Let's do that now. Yeah, sure. Okay. What is the time? Okay. Let me do one thing. Let me cover these few things. Um, okay. And then we'll create that at the last. Okay. Uh, so you can refer to this recording, okay, if you have any doubts, and you can create your own jobs in your own instance if you need it. Okay. And yes, obviously you have this recording with you at any time. In case if you have any doubt, you can, message me. So based on my availability, I will try to reply. Okay.
When you
Yeah.
say own instance, what does it mean?
Yeah. Okay. So let me tell you a story.
I think Nitin, I mean, I'm not contradicting with Sudha. So since we have already time for to cover more things,
Uh-huh.
so I think it would be nice if we can create it after 3 more days,
Uh,
because once we
yeah,
start
yeah. Yes,
instance,
yes.
yeah, it cannot last more than 15 days. So
Yes, yeah. Definitely, definitely. That's right. So see, so guys, what happens is, so earlier, right? So what used to happen is earlier, uh, Matillion, we were able to launch through AWS Marketplace. Okay, so AWS Marketplace just, kind of a Google store where you can go there and install or download your different products, right? Um, so if you see, right, so you can, download any or purchase any Amazon Linux AMI, or you can install and purchase Microsoft SQL Server, right? Or even in Red Hat Enterprise Linux machine, right? So this is just a marketplace, kind of a Google Play Store, right, where you can download. Similarly, we were able to launch the Matillion from here earlier, okay? And that was again free for the 14 days only. But recently what they did is they, recently in June 2021, they changed their policy and they introduced the Matillion Hub concept, right? So Matillion Hub is nothing but, it is just a kind of billing platform where you can manage all of your instances within the organization, right? But the other thing is that on Matillion Hub, they will only allow you to log in or create an account if you have a business account, business email, right? So we cannot log in on Matillion Hub with some Gmail or anything. Okay, so uh, right, so that is the thing, and that's why you will not be able to log in or launch the Matillion instance from Matillion Hub. But yeah, having said that, if you have any your personal domain, right, personal email domain, and that is easy to create, right, using Google Workspace or all. So if you have any personal your domain, email domain, then you can use that, and you can use that for 14 days. Okay, even if you want to practice it more, and even after 14 days you can do that. Okay, and it will cost you very very cheap. So the costing is not much there. Okay, so for you can launch a T2 medium machine and you can practice it there. Okay, maybe an 100 rupees per hour it will cost you, something around that. Okay, so wherever you need it, you can just create your own business account, a kind of thing, a domain, which you will get in less than 500 rupees. And then you can create your Matillion Hub account on Matillion Hub and launch your instances. Now the another easy way to do that is through the Snowflake Partner Connect. Okay, so if you go to Snowflake here on Workbench, you will see the Partner Connect option, right? So here there are different tools that Snowflake has partnered with, right? So here we also have Matillion ETL, right? We have one data loader, we have one Matillion ETL. So this one we need to launch. So this, when you launch this, okay, yeah. So it needs an account admin privilege. Let me switch to account admin. So when you launch this, you will be just launching one Matillion instance, okay, right, and that will be a trial instance, and it will be available for 14 days for free. And after that, that instance will no longer be accessible to you. Okay, so what you can do, if you want to practice it here, you can launch it here, and you can before 14 days you can take the export of your job, and in case then with some different email, you can create another Snowflake 30 days trial, because that is also again a 30 days free trial, right? And then again, you can launch this and import your jobs to your new Matlin instance. Okay, so this way we can launch. So if someone wants to launch now, then they can launch now. Okay, and I can guide you post this session. Okay, fine. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the next thing is about this properties tab. So you know, right? So based on the component, the properties changes. Okay. So in the properties, uh, I will come back to this export part, or let's say okay. So let's come back to this. Okay. So this then we have an SQL. Okay. Since see this job I have opened, but this job has not validated yet. That's why the SQL is not able to generate. So if I simply right click and validate it, right, it should able to generate the SQL, right? And this SQL, as I said earlier, this SQL will be sent for the execution on Snowflake. Okay. And then we have the help tab. So in case if for any component, if you are not clear, you can go to help and you can check for all the functions here. Okay. And in case if you want to see the full documentation, you can click on here and you will be redirected to the Matlin site on the documentation.matlin.com, and you can check the full documentation there as well.
Can we run that SQL into Snowflake?
Yeah. So you can copy that and run it, but yeah, you will have to, change your AWS credentials. So instead here you need to use your managed stage or something else. But if you take that SQL, this kind of SQL, you can easily run, but you cannot edit it here. Okay. So this is how you can do it. And even if if you go to transformation job, right? If you want to run this SQL, you can come and you can expand the references. You can copy and paste it in here. Right. Yeah. So this is what it is doing. The Matlin, it is just sending that SQL and doing an ELT operations. Okay. Now, okay. So since we have come back to this documentation site, let me open. Let's say if you need some help on this filter component, right? So you can check it here on the help. Okay. Or you can click on the full documentation. So if you click on that, okay, you will be there in the documentation site. Okay. Now, if you see, guys, that the Matlin tool, right, or Matlin for Snowflake, or this just a Matlin tool, as I said, it provides a different platform specific product, right? So for a Snowflake Cloud Data Warehouse, it will have a Matlin for Snowflake. For Redshift, it will have Matlin for Redshift. Okay. And if you see here the filter component or most of the components, now you see here you will get the Snowflake properties, and again the same component is available for Redshift as well. And the same component is available for BigQuery as well, and the same for Synapse, right? So if you see the beauty here, that the similar components are available on the multiple platform of Matillions. Okay, what does that mean is if you work on any one of the product of Matillion, for you it is very easy to work on any different product. Now let's say if you're working on Matillion for Snowflake, tomorrow if your client says that we need to migrate to Matillion for Google BigQuery or Matlin for Redshift, for you it is pretty easy, because functionality wise there is no change. Okay, and just by looking at this, someone cannot tell that whether it's a Matlin for Snowflake or Matlin for Redshifts, because everything is same, and everything is pretty looks same, right? So we cannot tell just by looking at UI whether this product is for Matlin for Snowflake or Matlin for Redshift or Google BigQuery, right? Because the same component you have in your each and every Matlin product. Okay, may not be all, but the most of the components. Let's say calculator, right? It's available in all BigQuery, Synapse, and everything, right? So if you work with any one Matlin product, for you it is a kind of a 70%, 70 to 80% similar things with any other product. Okay.
Like as you said, like we can load data from For example, like one cloud to other cloud, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can read data from Amazon
Yeah.
cloud, and we can load data into Azure cloud.
Yeah. So we have one data transfer component, right? So there we can do that.
Okay.
So you can select the source S3, Azure, Google Cloud Storage. Charging is slow. Just a second. Yeah. So you can just do kind of this. But yes, obvious the connectivity between your Azure account and this account should be there, and that is a cloud team part. You just need to tell them that yes, we have this requirement and we need the connectivity to be established. So they will do the rest for you. Okay. But yeah, so my point is using the Matillion with the different platforms, right? So if you work on any one platform, for you it's pretty easy to work on any other platform, right? Because there are hardly any differences there. Okay, right. SQL script components will be available in other platform as well. And the same goes with the other such filter and calculator, target update, source, same. Even the join will be present in in other platform. So that was the main motto here. Yeah, so as we have seen here, okay, so since we are on the properties tab, so the properties tab will differ when you open your org transformation job, right? And so it's based on the uh, uh, based on your component that you select, right? So it has properties, then so the very cool feature of sample, right? If you need to go to or check the sample, right, you can check it here itself, right? The benefit is now since this is a calculator transformation, right, and you have added few of the things, you can easily check here that whether my calculators are working properly or not, whether my expressions are working properly or not, right? Earlier, what we used to do is we used to load the entire data in target table, then we used to check it in database, and then we used to get, so my calculator or my expression have not worked. But here you can do that. If you need to check the count, you can check it. Again, if you need to, if the data is more and you need to check only some specific, let's say region or specific thing, what you can do is you can just click edit here, okay, and you can apply a filter. Let's say I need to check where region equal to west, okay. Now remember this filter from the sample, right? It is not getting applied anywhere to our data. It is just for sample use case, okay. And now if I do data again, see, I can just see the data for west, right?
So this filter does not, it's not applicable to the actual job itself.
Yes. It is just for sample purpose.
Okay. So when I
Okay,
export the job, it doesn't show that I applied this.
correct.
All right. Thank you.
So this is how pretty and believe me, I find this feature very useful. Okay, sample, lineage, SQL, metadata, very useful feature. Okay,
I
and
think this
and
sample feature, sorry
yeah,
to disturb.
no,
So
please go ahead.
we can perform our unit testing at each data
Exactly,
hub level.
exactly. Yes, you're right at the point, right? We can do our, and even it shows 2 rows out of 6. That means 2 rows are qualifying this filter.
Not available in orchestrated job.
No. So these are so guys, what exactly it is doing, right? When you're clicking sample. So it is nothing but it is firing the query and applying this filter and firing the query at Snowflake, right? And then Snowflake gives you the data. Again, this does not bring in any data to its Matlin memory. Okay. You see the ELT operations, what it is doing, right? And here we need, little just lift and shift in our mindset, right? How we used to work with the earlier tools, right? Because that time they were the superior because that that was the need, right? But currently now we are moving towards cloud. Right? Earlier we used to go to the workbench and then check their data, right? But here we can check at least some basic level of sampling, right? And apply at least some basic filters.
Yeah, can you we can see source data also, right here?
Everything. Yeah, this is source only. This is source only. This is coming from source, but it is executing this SQL. Yeah,
Only just source data. That is good. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. At each and every step, the better thing is at each and every step it is showing me the data. If I go filter, it will show me the data which is using this condition. But now since there is no data where my ID is null or equal to NA, that's why we're getting all the data, right? So that,
Nitin, just one question. So, in real time, coming to Snowflake, so each query we fire here or in Snowflake also, it will cost you something, right? It will
yes,
cost us. So, in real time, how they will they keep it open for our development purpose, or they will
yes.
only accept?
No, they will keep you open for development purpose. So see, assume that you don't have such sample feature here. What
Yeah,
you would have done? You would have gone to Snowflake and check the data here.
copy that SQL and will
Yes,
trigger here. Yeah,
yes. So the same thing, right? Either it is it is gonna consume your credits here
yeah,
and
yeah.
through here, right?
Just checking.
So
Yeah.
it's pretty same thing.
Oh,
Nothing else, right? Yeah. So yeah,
So not even coding part,
yes, exactly.
Matillion, right?
Yes, it's a no code tool. I mean, it is what they say, but yeah, it is not the truth. Somewhere we need to write our Python and
Again,
Bash script, but yeah.
SCD1, SCD2, everything can be implemented without coding.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, guys. So thanks for that you brought that point. Now, if you see the same thing, right? Whatever we're doing, this can be achieved using the coding itself, right? So I can write my Snowflake scripts, I can write my Python script, I can write my PySpark script as well to perform my all ETL operations, right? But now it's your choice or it's client choice what they need to do. Whether they need to have the longer development time and reduce their code maintainability, or they want to have a tool which is just in drag and drop. And you see, right, how faster it is to develop the things. Correct? So
yeah.
it's
I think if they go by hand-coded
correct.
criteria, they
Yeah,
need a lot of data engineers.
yeah, a lot of,
Yeah,
and the chances of error is more there,
correct. Yeah.
right? Hmm.
Can we connect data from cloud database to on-premises data? Connect, for example, like I can have a lookup here.
No. So as I said, the transformation job is only when you will have your data in the Snowflake. So only the Snowflake tables will be available. To do that,
That is
what
that
you
is fine. That is fine. What I'm asking actually, I have a I have installed a DB2 software local. So already I have a data into Snowflake. Can I command
yeah,
by, for example, like for join
yeah,
operation,
yes. So take
uh,
another table input
other
and
DB also we can connect.
no, not other DB. That is what I was saying at the start. You can only so in transformation job, I'm talking about transformation job, right? Okay, in
Yeah, yeah.
transformation job, yeah, just you can just listen to me. What I'm saying is in the transformation job, you can only bring in or you can only transform your data which is already available in Snowflake, right? So the way like we have data in staging environment, then we combine that data, join, populate the data mart tables and all, build our facts and dimension, right? That is what you can do in transformation job. If you have data in external Oracle database, that you cannot do as a lookup here in the transformation job. But there, what you need to do is you need to create an orchestration job and you need to take that data, okay, using the database query component. You need to bring that data to Snowflake, okay, and then you just need to it's just a matter of selecting Oracle here, okay, and just give the Snowflake related stuff. So you bring that data to Snowflake in staging environment, and once that is done, then you can use that staging table here from the Snowflake. Clear? This is stage employee. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, that is fine. Anyway, like possibility is there by using
yes,
like loading data into staging. That is enough, right? We
exactly.
can have we can make connections to a number of databases, and we
Yes,
can keep
yes,
in ETL.
yes, that is what I said. If you remember my statement, if you need to get the data outside of Snowflake, you will have to write your orchestration job and get the data using the external connectors. And once the data is in Snowflake, you can use the transformation job. Okay. Yeah. So here you can see after sample, you have all the columns. You can see metadata. The important and cool feature again is a lineage. Okay. So many a times, we end up when we have, usually in real time we have when like some complex mapping, right? And we want to check, let's say a particular column is coming from which source table in Snowflake, right? Okay, so to get that lineage, we can use this lineage feature. And when I say, click on get lineage, I will get all the tables which are present in this component, which are available in this metadata. And now let's say if I need to check that, okay, so where is my person is coming from? So I can just click on person. It will show you, yes, this is currently in calculator. In calculator, it is coming from filter region, which is this filter region dot person. And if I expand that, it is coming from SF people src dot person, which is in turn a table in Snowflake, which is SF people dot person. Okay, so this will give me the clear idea where my data is transforming and where my data is coming from, right? If I say upper region here, I can click yes, this is my and yeah. So importantly, it just highlights that component here. If you see, if I select yes, it is coming from filter. Yes, it will highlight the filter. If I expand it, it is coming from the source region. So src, this component SF people src dot region, and at the end, this component is fetching data from Snowflake table, which is SF people, and the column is region. Okay, it just highlights those components to you. Okay, so it's pretty easy. Just assume if we have 50 of components, we have 3-4 source, we have 2-3 joiner component, filter and all, right? If you need to get the data lineage from where exactly it is coming, you could easily find that, right? Like insert update date, right? It is not coming from anywhere else. It is a calculated here, so we can easily identify, yes, that is here in this component. Clear?
Only like debugging purpose can be useful this data lineage.
Yes. All these are
From that,
helpful for your unit testing, debugging any issues, why your columns are not getting populated accurately, whether there is a lift and shift in the columns, right? All such things. And this is what I'm saying, that this is what makes my development faster and makes my development effort easy, right? It's not easy, believe me, it's not easy to find the data lineage when you have, hundreds of columns, 500 of columns. But yeah, with this functionality, with sample, metadata, lineage, SQL, you can easily do that. And this is something, plan which an SF, there is a Snowflake plan, okay, which Snowflake will, execute. But yeah, you can check anyway on the SQL side. But yeah, if you want to, this is a new feature that they added. If you need to check what plan the Snowflake generates here, right, to do that. Right? There is nothing to do with Matlin here. Everything is Snowflake. Okay, yeah. And the last thing that we have is not the last, but yeah, the next important thing which we have is an task history tab, or this tab. So here you can, as you said, like, you can check the task history here. You can just open it from here. So it will give you the better picture if you open it a new tab. Okay. Search is something, if you need to search for any particular thing on this task history, you can, you can search it. Okay. Not much useful, but yeah. Yeah. So if you search that, you will get to know, in which transformation job you have that run, on this tab, right? So you can have that, but not that useful. But yeah, they have given it. Console is something, whatever we do here, where people just logins here, that will appear here. And this, I think, okay, let you see the EC2 user has successfully renamed the job. It has successfully edited the job note, like that. So just whatever the things or tasks that we're doing, they will appear on the console part. command log is something, the same, whatever we do, if we run any job, it will just, provide those details here. Okay. Like successfully moved the components, everything, whatever the single thing that we do here, those will appear in that. We have triggered the validate event, right? All such. Okay. And last one is the notices tab. So notice is something, if so, this is like something Matillion, Matillion pushes to this. Okay. If we have say updates available, right? So we can see there are new softwares or new updates available for this, for our version. So we can update that. Okay. So this is what about this task. The important is this task tab for us. Okay. Now the
So
next
normally,
thing.
like
Mhm.
particular error, like where we could see actually. For example, I have a like big job, like kind of like having all the activities.
Yeah. So in
So
that
if
case,
I'm
what would
getting
happen? Yeah. So if there is any error in the component, that component will be highlighted as red. During the runtime, if there are any errors, it will appear on the task tab that your job has failed. You can click on that task tab and then you can expand that, and you will have the message here, whatever
Mhm.
the error that you get. Okay.
Like normally how many days older jobs we can see, older labs we can see.
I think ideally there is no limit on that part. Okay, because it stores that log internally in the RDS database, right? So there is no limit on that part. You can check anytime. Okay, and any number of runs, previous runs. Okay. Now the another next we have is in help. So help tab is just for help if you need get support. If you need, click on that, you will come back to this documentation page where you can contact the Matillion. Okay, so there are different ways. Okay. Um, the the best way is to uh, uh, use their email, which is support@matillion.com. Okay, so this is the email we when using your business email, you can reach out to them and you can whatever the things that are not clear, uh, they can answer. Okay, and so their support is pretty well actually. Okay, so you can schedule your call if you want to review your Matlin architecture. You can do that. If you're not clear on some of the jobs, okay, how to do that, you can search on the documentation. If that is not available there, you can contact them as well. Okay, so they can get onto the call as well. Okay, so you can email them to the support@matlin.com. Now support information, majority of thing what happened is when you send any support email, so they will ask you what is your Matlin version. Okay, METL, that is what is your Matlin version, in case some of the other information as well. Okay, which is your Tomcat server and all. Okay, so if you want such information, you can take it from here as well. Okay, which is your cloud platform, right? We need to mention that as well, that we are running on a AWS and the Snowflake. Okay, the repository database is Postgres, like that. And these are some of the internal additional information you can see here. We have added, if you remember, 40 GB of root space, right? So currently it is 36 GB available. 3 GB Matlin consumes for the Tomcat user.
Normally this material also can be installed in a Linux operating system.
No, so such external software they don't provide you. Okay, but you will have to launch that from Matillion Hub, right? As we launched it, but you can launch either on AWS, GCP, or Azure. So they can't, so they don't provide that one external software. Okay, yeah. Then licensing, it will just show you what is your licensing part. Okay, so concurrent users are 24 currently. Let me check which instance I'm logged in. Okay, it's T2 medium. Okay, yeah. So concurrent user session is 24. That means maximum 24 users can log in at a time. Maximum environment is the environment that we create, right? So 36 they will support. There is nothing. It is just some of the additional feature, right? The job documentation, as I said, that is an enterprise level feature. So that is true. Enable permissions and all. Enable lineage, right? If you see, that is an enterprise licensing version. So if you select that enterprise licensing, only that will be appear So we'll come to that part. Then SCM is, source control management, right? That is with the Git. Yes, that is also enabled with our version. Enable multiple connections. If you see on the environment, we can define concurrent connection, right? So that is also an enterprise feature, and you can. So that is available for your instance, CDC and clustering and all. Okay. So this is how we can check some of the things. Manage connection. This is for admin. So admin can see all of the connections which are currently logged into Matillion. And if I need to end, he can simply end this connection using this cross button. Okay. So all of the users which are currently logged into Matillion, they will appear here. And they are in which job, they are in which for project and all, he can see that. And then communities, if you click on that community, it will go to the Matillion community, right? It is just an discussion forum where you can search for whatever things that you need, right? What is the forum and everything. So you can search for the different questions and all. Okay, here, right? Is there any way to create a bi-weekly schedule? No, there is no way here, right? Something like that. Stopping a job at the component when certain criteria meet, right? So something like that. You can, you can have that. You can check those answer here, right? Whatever the answers they have been given, right? Provided. So you can go to this Matillion community. So I'll provide you that link as well. And view permission is something. It is again the permission level. Okay, what all the permissions are granted at the project level, and okay. So if you see to execute, I have granted the, I know. So I have the permission to write. I have the permission, right? Okay, so such permission. Usually we don't change this. These are inbuilt permission which Matillion needs or Matillion needs. Usually we don't modify this. Okay, but there are other way to manage your, permissions. Okay. Now finally we have admin menu. This is specifically for admin, and not everyone will need that. The first one is download server log. Okay, so as I said, this Matillion application is running on the top of Matillion, on the top of the Tomcat server, right? That is an application server. So usually, if you have any issue within your Matillion instance, anything, and if you contact, I mean, when I say issue, if you have any infrastructure related issue or something like that, okay. Um, and when you contact Matillion, they will definitely ask you for the server log. So admin can just download the server log from here, and he just need to share that log. That is a catalina.out file. Okay, so that catalina.out file can be shared with the Matillion team. So it's pretty internal. Okay, it will have everything, right? Show columns in DemoDB, select star from, right, person region from DemoDB. So whatever things that we did, it will provide you the logs, and then Matillion team will just analyze these logs and will check if there is anything here, okay, in that log.
You can find the server name.
Server name in the sense?
Server logs we have, right? So Matillion server name or kind of.
Yes, yeah, everything will be there. So this is your server log only, right? Server name is nothing but its IP address. Okay. Yeah. So many times what happens host name and all, right? Local host. It is actually a Tomcat log. Okay, so you can find that whatever the things detail. Specifically, sometimes what happens is, see, this is an auto save, right? So this is a live connection to your Matillion from your browser, right? Sometimes what happens, your browser is not able to, make a connection with the Matillion. Okay, so you get, maybe waiting for server response. So at that time, they will ask you for the server log, and they will check in that server log, right? What is exactly the issue? Okay. So what happens is this Google Chrome or this browser, just to sync with your Matlin, whether it's connected or not, it continuously send the ping and pong messages. Okay. Uh, so it continuously send, the it just send one message, that is ping, and if server is alive, that means the Tomcat is alive, then it will send the pong message. So ping and pong, that is a communication happen between the server and your browser. Okay. So sometimes, if that communication is not proper, or if your internet bandwidth is not proper, then you might face some issue. But that is very rare thing, you would say. But yeah, everything gets tracked in the log file there. Okay. Then Matlin updates. Yes, if you want to check for any updates, you can check it. Okay. And so there are two ways, okay, to update it. So let's say if currently we are on the 1.53.8 version and new 1.54 version comes, right? So we can directly update from here. But yeah, what Matlin recommends is before updating, you should always take a EBS backup of your instance. Okay. So in AWS, if you know, we can take a backup of your EC2 machine. So that's an kind of a state of that instance, okay, at that particular time. Okay, so you can take an EBS backup. Where is that action? Snapshots, EBS job snapshots. So you can create a snapshot before updating your instance. So if something happens, again you can roll back that your snapshot, okay, so that you don't lose anything else. Okay? When you take the snapshot or EBS backup, that means you are actually taking a backup of your entire EC2 machine. Okay, right? Yeah. So if you see here, it has latest version 1.55.5. If you need to update, you can update it here. But usually before doing that, always take an EBS backup of your EC2 machine. Okay. Now we have that option from here as well. Okay, manage backups. Okay, if you need to schedule that, so you see activate backup, right? So if you take the backup, you can just give a name on what particular time you need to schedule your backup. Okay, and use the instance credentials. That's it. Right? Name is suitable. No description. Yeah, but if you see, we don't have a credential access to take the EBS backup. So usually you need to get in touch with your cloud team to get or to schedule an EBS backup. So they can also schedule from here. Okay, on a particular time. So till that is not much needed, because AWS itself has its 99.99% availability, right? But yeah, some cloud team prefers to take the EBS backup on a regular interval, on a weekly basis, on a weekend or something like that. Now the next part is the user configuration. So in user configuration, if you see, it is completely an admin part. Okay, so if you need to configure any new user, you can click here and you can configure the user. Okay, now let's say if I need to configure it manually, I just need to click plus, give username, password, repeat password, and role. Right. So server admin is a kind of an admin for this entire server. Okay, a kind of a super user. API is a kind of a developer role. So when you create any new user which is a developer, you should always give in the API role. Okay, global project admin is something the admin activity he can do for all of the project. Okay, on this instance. So these are kind of similar role, server admin and global project admin. And read only is if you need to create a user as a read only, you can just create a read only user. Okay, so he usually in production you will create a read only user simply, right? And in development, right, based on thing, you can provide access to writer. If there is some external team member, they just want to see or the job of for your or your production support team, you can just give them the reader access. Okay, reader is reader comments is reader with comments, right? But in production, usually our support team needs to run some of the job manually sometimes, so you can give runner access to them. So they will be able to run the job, but they will not be able to write or schedule anything. Okay, so it's pretty simple, right? Scheduler and writer. So currently you all are in the writer group. That's why you're able to edit the jobs and all. Okay, clear on this part, add user? Okay, so the another thing what it has is it can also, so you can also have a single sign-on login, okay, with your, with your Active Directory, with your Okta or others. Okay, so if you select Okta, the only thing that you need to give is, so you need to get your Okta URL from your Okta team and get the username and password or client ID and client secret and provide your business email here. Or just the email is the scope, right? Yeah. Okay. So this is how you can just integrate your single sign-on login with your Okta. So the way you are logging currently using username and password, there will be an option called single sign-on, and that will redirect to your Okta if you select Okta, right? So this is how we can configure the users. Now SSL is just this, certificate. Okay, not much use because when you launch this instance, a certificate is already installed. But if you want to have some more certificate, which sometimes your cloud team will provide, you can upload it from here. Yeah, restart server. So this is something, now see, as I said, so we have launched the EC2 machine, right? And on the top of that, we have Tomcat server running. And on the top of Tomcat, we have Matillion software installed, right? So restart server is if you need to restart your Tomcat server. Okay, so sometimes it happens that, Tomcat is blocked or Tomcat is not able to free up the memory, right? So at that time, you can, try restarting server. So if anything is not working in Matillion, so the very first part for you is just refresh your window. If that is not working, the next part is to restart your server. So this will simply restart your Tomcat server, not the EC2 machine. Okay.
So if I refresh my window, right, let's say I'm doing some development, creating a task, I'm not committed that. If I refresh my window, will my work be saved or will I lose it?
No, it will get saved. As I said, it's auto saved, so you will not lose anything.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, this is something called manage database driver. Again, an admin will do. Now, let's say, consider that we need to pull a data based from some Oracle database, let's say, right? Okay, so here I'm selecting an Oracle. So now, Matillion, since it is showing this option, that means the Oracle JDBC jar, right, or the driver, it is already present within this Matillion. Okay, that's why it is able to show you that, um, uh, you know, uh, you can say option. Okay, that is source database. Okay, because that JDBC jar file is already present there. Okay, but in case sometimes it may happen that the version that this Matillion supports for Oracle, that may not be the version that you are, or your Oracle database might be on some different version or some older version which Matillion doesn't support. So in that case, to load any external jar file or the driver, you can use the manage database driver option. Okay, so you just need to click here, then click on this new group, and currently it supports these 6 drivers to be uploaded manually, right? So if you want to upload a driver for Oracle based on your Oracle version, you can just click on that and just browse it. It will just say, just verify your libraries before you install. Okay, and then simply you can, uh, upload the driver file. Let's say I have this, not sure where is that. Yeah, let's say I have this JD Oracle full driver. Okay, yeah, this is not a valid jar file, I think. Okay, yeah, ODBC full. Yeah, so let's say ODBC 7 I need to upload, right? So this jar is uploaded and I can test it. Successfully loaded the driver. and this version is 12.1, right? So this is useful only when your database, is of some older version or anything, or your jar is not supported by, or your database is not supported by Matillion, your database version, right? So in that case, you can manually upload your jar files, okay, to till this specific database. It is a MySQL, IBM, SAP, and Teradata. Okay, I'm deleting now. Okay, and this will get uploaded to Matillion machine. Okay. Manage backups, yeah, as we have seen, this manage backup option. If you need to back up your EC2 machine, manage groups is the same, right? So if you remember, we have seen while we configure the user, right? We have these groups, right? Reader with comments, runner, scheduler, and writer. Okay, so the same groups are available here in the manage groups. Okay, now you can see then to writer group, when you check who are all associated to writer group, right? So we all are there in the writer group. If you need to allocate someone to reader group, you can just click this checkbox. Okay, so this is how simple it is to allocate the people to writer or some other groups, right? So it is about the manage group. Manage permission we have seen, right? So basically, let's say if you open this writer group, right, it will show you what all permission this writer group has, right? So if you, let's say, see the project, and if you see the write, you will see it is granted. Okay, it is granted, and specifically, right, let's say on creating a pipeline, this permission is granted, okay, to the writer group, right? Okay, if you see to check the permission for reader group, I mean what Matillion internally sets, if you come here, if you come to project, you will see this write permission is forbidden. That means it is not granted anywhere, right? So this is how Matillion just manages its permission. So it's internal, and we don't usually change these permissions. Okay.
Normally, like specific project, like to give access and all, like which one you can do.
Yeah, so once you create the user and define whether that's, as I say, reader user or writer user, then to give an access to project, we can click on this manage project option, and then we can select whether to give access or not on this project.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. Then audit is again internal, something internal, just for auditing of what is happening within the Matillion job. Okay, don't see is useful for ourselves, but yeah. Product improvement matrix, it is just for product improvement if we need to send anything, and this billing.
This audit thing, like we need to follow like especially, right? The thing is actually like if project is scratch level, then we need to go properly for auditing process, right? That one also can be done by developer, I believe.
Yes, yeah, right. This is something different. This is internal audit. Auditing is like, you can add some of the audit columns, like we add Matillion run ID. You can all the insert date and update date. If you want to add, so in the table as well, if you want to add the job name, that, just to identify this table is getting loaded by which job. So you can add that as a audit column as well. Okay. Now on the billing part, the billing part, it's pretty simple. So if you go to hub.matillion.com, you will get to you will get to see the your instances which you have launched. Okay. So right, we have launched two instances. One is inactive, that means it's in stop state, and one is active. Okay. You can see you have 11 days for your free trial. Okay. If you need to add another instance, you can click on add instance. The same process. You can select your cloud provider, your database platform, and go on. Okay. In your plan, if you go to plan, right? So if you see edition is enterprised, okay, and what does that mean? If you click on choose new plan, we have these three plans. Okay, these are like recent introduction by Matlin. Earlier the things were different. So if you see, we have basic plan, advanced, and enterprise. Okay, these are trial plan as of now. So so what happens is, so it gets $2 per credit. Okay, so for each credit that is consumed, it will cost you $2. Okay, and what you will get in the basic, unlimited read-only users, right? If you remember, we have an option to create the read-only users here. Correct, this one, right? So unlimited read-only users, right? These are orchestration job, sampling and validation, unit testing, job automation, scheduling. That similarly in advanced, we get everything including basic plus audit logs, auto-generated documentation, right? That documentation is not available in basic plan. In permission management, concurrent connection is available in the advanced. And if you go for the enterprise, you have the data lineage, Git repository, Matlin external database, and run in a clustered environment. Right? So this has, okay. So these are the some of the additional things you can go. So you can check more on that part. Okay. If you need to check the consumption, you can go and check here on the view consumption part, and you can see this 14 days trial. It ends on 19th September, and right now it has credited this much of credit side like that. Okay. Yeah, so this is what I have to cover as a part of the UI detailing part, and yeah, and the rest of the job notes and some of the advanced feature. Okay. Any questions here? Anyone? Yeah, good. So we'll just spend 5 minutes to create if someone needs to create their own Matillion instance through Snowflake Partner Connect. Okay, so I mean those can stay back. So maybe so who was telling to create the instance? If he can share the screen, I think Ramana or who?
Yes, Sudhakar.
Yeah, yes, Sudhakar. If you can share your screen and open your Snowflake workbench.
You able to see my screen?
Yes. Yeah. So just close that right side part. Yeah. Just click on that close on the top right. Yeah. First, yeah. Before that, switch to account admin. So from the top right, you see your name, right? Sudha Kenny. So from that, switch role and switch to account admin, because to launch that, we need the account admin role. Yeah. Okay. Once you do that, yeah, scroll down. Yeah, you see Matlin. No, not that data loader. That is different. Click on Matlin ETL. Okay. So yeah, just hold on there. So if you see, guys, what it is doing, if you see, Matillion will create your or the Snowflake will create these databases and roles and user. Okay, when you launch this, so it will create a database called PC Matillion DB. If you see at the top, it will create a warehouse for PC Matillion warehouse. It will create a system user, and it will create a role. Okay, so all these things will be created by Snowflake when you launch this Matlin instance. Okay, now what it is saying on the drop down, that if you want this PC Matlin user or PC Matlin role to be given access to different DB, then we can do that. Okay, so we can select demo DB as well here, so that what will happen, the new user will have access to demo DB, but still, yeah, demo DB, not the Snowflake. Yeah, if you want to keep that, you can keep. So there is no harm in that. Okay, so new, but still we'll use the sysadmin user in your Matillion. Okay, now once this is done, just click on connect, and within a minute your Matlin instance should be ready. So just hold on this screen. Yeah. Okay. Why? Just close it. Just click there one more time on Matlin ETL.
Can I refresh once?
Yeah. Yeah. Click there.
Just launch.
Uh, yeah. Launch. Click on launch. You are already connected to Matlin via Partner Connect. Please use the details provided via email and log back to instance. Okay. It says that you have already used that Matlin instance prior. Go back to your email. You must have received some email from the Snowflake or the Matlin. Yeah. Click on that. No, this is Snowflake one. Go back. Check in the updates. Sorry, promotions or updates. Yeah, here. Yeah. So if you will once you launch that, right, you will get an email. So see now just hold on attention there. So it's here. This is your username. This is your password, and the way we log in using IP, right? So they will provide you one URL. So if you click on this, go to Matillion ETL, then you will be able to log into that Matillion. Okay. Just click on that. Yeah. Now go there. Yes. So copy that password and your user is EC2 user. Mm-hmm. And just save it if you want. So it is completely, managed by Snowflake and Matillion, you can say. Okay. I think based on internet, it will take some time. If you can just wait on that page, let's see. Just on that Matillion page. Yeah, let's wait
Can
here.
I will close already. I opened. Can I close?
No, that is a different Matillion instance. Okay, these two are different. The one that you are currently in, that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
our instance, and this is completely different instance. You see the URL? Yeah. Maybe I think some due to some network issue, maybe you can stop sharing and then you can be on that.
Yeah, like you can try, right? Like if you can try helping that password and
Okay, okay. Give me that URL as well first. Ping me that URL on the chat and the password as well. Yeah. Yeah, and ping the URL as well.
so my connection is slow.
Okay. Yeah, I'm able to connect. Let me share my screen. Yeah, so you see, So when I logged in, I'm able to connect. This is just the first time that I'm logged in. And what you will have is you will have a default project the way we created the project, right? It will create a project with name Snowflake. Okay. And now when I open that, it will have the same those two dummy jobs. Okay. And in the environment, if you see this would have been connected to the PC Matlin user. Okay. And obviously if you want you can change the role as well here.
By default, it has taken AWS. Huh?
Yes, by default it is taken AWS because your Snowflake is on AWS, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, and that is how it has access. So what we can do, we can change it to sysadmin role here from here, let's say. Okay, not sure the sysadmin might have. Okay, so this user is not having access to the sysadmin, that's why it is not able to pull that. Maybe we need to change. So what you can do later, once you log in, right, you can change this user and use your user which you used to log into Snowflake, right? Because that has a sysadmin privilege. So use that user, and in the password you can
Which user you are saying?
the Snowflake user, right, which you log in. You see that at the top, right?
Snowflake user ID. Okay.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Snowflake user ID you can give, and in the password, what you can do, either you can type manually, or you can go to manage here and click on plus and add your password. Let's say you say SF Sudha, and add your Snowflake password here. Okay, yes, you add it somewhere. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and then once you click OK here, you will see that in the drop down and select that password. And once you click next, then you will be able to select your sysadmin role. Okay, and select our compute WH default database as DemoDB and schema as public. Right, so you can then practice all of our jobs within this instance as well. Okay.
By trial also directly, are we able to connect to AWS?
Yes, now its AWS is different. It is different. It's internal AWS. Okay. So if you see here, now it is launched on its internal AWS, but uh, you know, some Matlin has their public bucket available, Matlin public. Okay, so we can try using this bucket. So here they have, different files available for flights or this such thing, right? But since we already have gone through this scenario, right? I think for you the major one is to create the transformation job, right? How can you transform the data? And for that you just need a Snowflake connection, right? And which you
Where we
already
can see
have.
files? Where we can see files?
Files,
Normally, I'm asking about AWS to read data. We had a write file in our session
yeah,
normally. Can we
yeah.
get any sample file?
So if you click on this S3 load generator, okay, it will ask you for your file, but I'm not sure if we have access on that Matlin public bucket. Okay. And then into that, let's say we have flights, or uh, let's try this out. Okay, I'm getting S3 load generator. I'm putting that path. Not sure. Okay, these are the RPM files. These are not the one. Okay, this PDF. Yeah, so here you can see some of the files which they have uploaded. Okay, this is 1987 CSV.gz and all, but I don't think if we will have the access on that part. Yeah, okay, some access is denied. So basically, I think we cannot connect to their S3 from these systems. But that bucket is